This summer, Dungeons & Dragons Online players finally get their first full expansion called Menace of the Underdark. Yes indeed, it's been over 6 years, but this massively multiplayer online role-playing game is still going strong. Last time we took a guided tour of D&D Online, we discovered how Lolth, the Demon Queen of Spiders, was manifesting herself in the world of Eberron. We ran to Kyber and back and prevented part of her scheme, but in the process, a portal to another plane was opened. A new CG trailer helps bridge the gap between that adventure and the one that comes. Let's take a look.
Mistress, the passage to Kyber remains open to your advantage. The Drow of the Underdark will not fail you. Woe to the intruders who dare enter the demon web. They will be slaughtered as a sacrifice to your greatness. Even that fool Elminster will not hinder the darkening that will consume Toril. Nothing will stand in your way.
And so, in Menace of the Underdark, you will leave behind the comfort of Eberron and head to the Forgotten Realms. This means traversing the Demon Web, which is the abyss between worlds. All worlds are connected by the Weave, which is Lolth's home domain. Monsters you may encounter include Driders, Swarm Horde Spiders, and Drow. Drow come in many varieties: enchanters, priestesses, and even archers using their famed hand crossbows. Thanks to a new spawn mechanic, encounters won't always be the same. It's sort of like when a dungeon master throws in a random encounter in the pen and paper game to keep you on your toes. Once we arrived in Faerun, we got a glimpse of the outskirts of Evening Star. Evening Star used to be a peaceful village, very different from Stormreach. Lately, however, Drow raiding parties have been attacking the town, and it's up to you to discover why. And so you take to the caverns beneath Evening Star. The cave belongs to a group of forest hags in alliance with the Drow. They seek an item called the Thread of the Weave, which will allow Lolth to become the Queen of Magic over the Forgotten Realms. These hags speak in riddles and can read dreams, and it seems the citizens of Evening Star are afflicted with one common dream. The next step of the tour had us fighting a new enemy in the game called a Mimic. A Mimic might look like a treasure chest, but you won't find any gold inside, just a set of sharp teeth. Other enemies you encounter here include nature-based foes like Dryads, Vine Thrashers, and so on. The quest ends with a battle versus a riddling night hag and her minions, and so you gain the trust of Evening Star and begin to work with the Purple Knights to dig deeper into the mystery. Next came the King's Forest, where we got to see the abilities of the new Druid class. Let's take a look at the Wolf, the Winter Wolf, Fire Elemental, and Water Elemental forms. There are other forms too, like the Dire Bear. Druids get a pretty cool spellbook with arcane damage spells and healing spells alike. Venturing through the forest, we caught the attention of a Drow raiding party. When you draw a Drow party's attention, you might come under the effect of the Darkening. That effect brings about a magical eclipse that engulfs the space around the Drow. You may also stumble upon mini objectives that make wandering the forest fun and replayable. For example, a lost villager may need to be escorted back to the village, but she won't always be in the same place. Or you might come across a group of adventurers that ask you to come back that evening for a bite of meat. Ultimately, they might give you some meat for a buff, or they might turn into werewolves and try to eat you. You could run into these kinds of situations with random encounters, even though they look similar. Likewise, you can't trust everyone in the forest, even if they say they're lost. After some sightseeing, we came across a Drider in a place he wouldn't ordinarily be. Such are the delights of getting a pre-release look of a game in progress. You would normally encounter them in the Underdark itself and in the Demon Web. And then it was off to the wetlands to fight some water elementals, and we ultimately ran across a green dragon. He didn't have final animations, but it was fun to beat up on him. He hits you with poison spray, though if he were a black dragon, that would be acid spray. Dungeons & Dragons Online Menace of the Underdark arrives June 25th, and at this stage, it looks like the Forgotten Realms done right.